If you blame the Jews for all the world's problems, you're probably an anti-Semite. If everything going wrong in your life is because of the Jews, you're probably an anti-Semite. If the Jews control the media, the banks, and Hollywood, and you think that, and you think it's affecting your life in an adverse way, you're probably an anti-Semite. If you deny the Jewish people the right to live in our ancient homeland, you're probably an anti-Semite. If you don't allow the Jewish people to defend their people, you're probably an anti-Semite. If you think it's okay for people to kill, maim, murder the Jewish people because they're Jewish, then you're an anti-Semite. But we've got to figure out if you're really an anti-Semite or just a bigoted, ignorant moron. Let's try and figure it out by defining anti-Semitism. Welcome everybody. Today we're going to take a test. But before we take a test, we've got to have the lesson so we know what we're being tested on. That's the best way to teach, right? How do you define anti-Semitism? How do you know if your neighbor, your politician, or your newsman is an anti-Semite? How do you know? How do you define it? We've got to define our terms. So we need to know who is and who isn't an anti-Semite. How do you define anti-Semitism is the way to figure that out. So let's see. Let's first go to the International Holocaust Remembrance Association, who put together a definition of anti-Semitism that's being adopted around the world and on universities everywhere as the definition for anti-Semitism. Let's see what it is. Anti-Semitism is a certain perception of Jews, which may be expressed as hatred toward Jews. Okay, that's a good start. Rhetorical and physical manifestations of anti-Semitism are directed toward Jewish or non-Jewish individuals and or their property, toward Jewish community institutions and religious facilities. To sum that up, anti-Semitism is hatred against the Jews. Okay, very good. That's a good working definition. But I know that for me, I need to be more specific to figure out. Like I can just point anybody and say what they're doing is hating on the Jews. How do I actually know that what they're doing is hating on the Jews? How do I know that what they're doing is hatred and anti-Semitism? Perhaps they're just upset with me because I left my garbage out in the street and they're like, hey, you left your garbage out in the street. Is that anti-Semitism? I don't leave my garbage out in the street. But still, if someone came up to me and anything they're upset about me, just because I'm Jewish, it's anti-Semitism? Of course not. So I need to know more and go deeper. So I think really the best test to figure out what anti-Semitism is goes by Natan Sharansky's 3 Ds. And these 3 Ds define anti-Semitism in a manner where we can really apply it to the situation to see if what's going on is anti-Semitic or not. What are the 3 Ds? Number 1 is when you delegitimize the Jewish people, or Israel, of course. Number 2 is when you demonize the Jewish people. And number 3 is when you apply a double standard. So, delegitimization of the Jewish people means that the Jewish people don't have rights like you do. Is that if I have the right to free speech and the Jew doesn't, that's delegitimizing the rights of the Jewish people. If the Jewish nation, Israel, doesn't have a right to defend its citizens because it's illegitimate, that's anti-Semitism. And any criticism of Israel, the Jewish people, that falls into that basket is anti-Semitism. And what about demonization? If they're depicting the Jewish people as crude and lowly, subhuman vermin and all these types of things, that's anti-Semitism. If they're telling us we're money-grubbing thieves and all these types of things, that's anti-Semitism. We're not humanized anymore. They're dehumanizing us, which is a demonization of the Jewish people. That's anti-Semitism. And the last of the 3 Ds is the double standard. Are they applying a double standard to us? Are they treating the Jewish people different than they treat everybody else? That's a big question all around the world. Right now, we're seeing it manifest itself in New York City with the politicians. And I'm not being political, but ask yourself, are they applying a double standard right now in October of 2020 to the Jewish community versus other communities? I think they are. So that would be anti-Semitism. So we've got to really look and apply these 3 Ds to see if what's going on is anti-Semitism or not. And you have to decide for yourself. Look at a situation and think, are they delegitimizing the Jewish people in this case? Are they demonizing the Jewish people in this case? Are they applying a double standard and treating the Jewish people differently than they treat other people? Take a look, make a decision, and decide whether or not this is an anti-Semitic act or not. Now, very importantly, anti-Semitism comes in many forms. Just like they told us from the IHRA, it comes in the form, it could be in violence. It could be in online hatred. It could be in petitioning against the Jewish people. Anti-Semitism is the world's oldest hatred, that's for sure, and it's come in every form possible. They've even made up new forms to be anti-Semitic because they're so innovative in their anti-Semitism. If only they'd apply their minds to helping the world instead of fighting against it. Well, this is what we have to deal with. So the Jewish people have to know we've got to deal with anti-Semitism. Now, sure, self-defense is really important. We'll talk about that. There's numerous ways to defend ourselves physically, but the spiritual is what's really important here to understand, is that when the anti-Semite wants to rid the world of the Jews, the best thing the Jewish people can do is live Jewish lives. Now, every single day I get up and I do my Jewish stuff, I'm fighting against anti-Semitism by leading a Jewish life. That's what it's really all about. We've got to stand up against anti-Semitism. Sure, we have to be ready to defend ourselves physically. There's no question about that. But we've got to be able to stand, and every day our life should stand for Judaism. And if the anti-Semite's trying to take it away from us, we should only be stronger and better at being the best Jews that we can be. So, that's today's test, folks. Take a look at what's going on around you and ask yourself, is this anti-Semitism or is this not anti-Semitism? One more note. Sometimes the Jewish people can be anti-Semitic. I know that's kind of like, woo, what? How can that possibly be? Well, it can be. Because a lot of times we'll blame ourselves for the problems and we'll justify the actions of the anti-Semites based upon what we're doing. And I'm sorry, I don't put up with that at all. It's not right. It's not just, and there are no rationalizations when people take up arms against the Jewish people because we're Jewish. And there's no rationalizations and justifications when the Jewish people are treated differently. Doesn't mean the Jewish people are always right. We're not. I'll be the first to admit it. And again, go back to that situation in New York. I don't think that the Jewish people there are right if they're not following the laws of COVID. This is serious business. But that doesn't justify a double standard being applied to the Jewish community versus other communities. It doesn't legitimize what's going on where Jewish people are having eggs and rocks thrown at them for their political views, and they're having insults hurled at them through windows, and the government's coming at them with inspectors and levying fines. All of these things, they're not going on in other places. That makes it anti-Semitism. It doesn't even matter if the Jews are being wrong. It doesn't matter. And there's no rationalization whatsoever or justification or legitimization of anti-Semitism and anti-Semitic acts against the Jewish people. So stand strong, my Jewish people. Stand strong for the entire world. Non-Jews, don't be anti-Semitic. Jews, don't be anti-Semitic. Everybody, people of good conscience, step up. Don't be anti-Semitic. Fight anti-Semitism everywhere. Stand for the cause of goodness and truth and justice and righteousness. That's what the world's all about. Apply the anti-Semitism test to see if what's going on is anti-Semitic. And if it is, call it out, fight against it, but mostly live. Live for it. Live for it. Live for being Jewish. It's the greatest privilege and responsibility that there is. Stand up. Be proud, be counted, and be a part of the Jewish future. Anti-Semites be damned. Thanks for tuning in. If you like what you see here on The Rabbi Cooks, then please subscribe to the channel. Let's learn something together. Let's eat great food. Let's meet amazing people. Let's do it together. So please share, like, and eat delicious food with amazing people while discussing incredible ideas.